Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, today on A Beer with Starlo, I've got my first female guest, and I can't think of a better female angler to feature on A Beer with Starlo than Vicki Winter-Lear. Vicki, I've known you for years, and you've always been mad keen on your fishing, but where did it start for you?
The keenness probably started when I met my husband, Scott. The introduction to fishing was through my dad, up on the Macleay River, Southwest Rocks. When I met my husband, Scott, 28 years ago.
Wow.
When we met, he said, "Oh, I like my fishing. I'm going to warn you, I like my fishing." And I said, "Oh, I love fishing too." And he said, "I'll take you fishing." But he waited, I think we met in October, and he waited until February till he took me fishing, which I was at him every weekend, take me fishing.
And he was really into his fishing then?
He was really into fishing, lost a few girlfriends because he'd go fishing all the time and not spend time with them. So he warned me when he first met me, I'm into my fishing, and I'd done a little bit with Dad, so I'm like, yeah, teach me more. So he waited those few months, and what he was waiting for was the pelagic fish to turn up off Wollongong. So typically the frigate mackerel turn up around February. I wanted to learn more, and Scott wanted to teach me because he didn't want to be with a lady that kept stopping him from fishing and things like that. So he thrived on teaching me, and I started buying fishing magazines and reading them and, things like that to learn a little bit quicker.
So in those early days, it was all pretty much land-based fishing?
All land-based fishing. We spent every weekend down Jervis Bay going for the elusive marlin off the rocks, the kingfish, the tuna when they turn up in the winter time. And then from time to time, soft plastics weren't a big thing back then, so it was the Mr. Twisters off, walking Long Beach and things like that. So it was Target Beach for the salmon at New Year's Day and all of those kind of things. So
now you put a lot of time in on the rocks and you caught some great fish. I know you got a marlin off the rocks, didn't you? And there haven't been too many women who've caught a marlin off the rocks.
And I was pretty blessed. So a memory that'll stay with me forever. I've actually hooked 3 marlin off the rocks. Yeah.
So when did a boat come into the picture?
Probably in our early 20s. We just bought our first house and we decided to get a boat as well. So it was a 4-metre boat, and we decided to then hit the water and go boat fishing. So our first fishing trips were predominantly bass up the top of the Shellhaven, and then we did a bit of a trip once. We went to Windermere for yellow belly, St Clair for bass, and Glenbourne as well. So
they're great, those road trips, aren't
they? It was great.
Really good. And I guess being Wollongong based, did you start to go offshore even in that small boat and fish out around the islands and things like that?
Yeah, we probably went more off the reef systems in closer, so we could get like little snapper and amberjack and things like that. There's a reef system off Port Kembla and there's another one off Coniston. And funnily enough, all of the weed beds and things all around North Wollongong was great for snapper, Samson fish, stuff like that. So we actually explored when the weather was great. We could explore a little bit in it, but predominantly we did a lot of fresh water and a lot of time down the Shellhaven in it.
Yeah.
So.
And were you still land-based fishing?
Not as much.
No, once you get a boat, it's
it was
too
a bit
easy
easier to catch fish. So not as much at all. That was our first introduction to tournament fishing. Time on the water it came down to, and for us we worked out there's no point fishing at 2 weeks prior to the pre-fish ban. You're better to fish it a month before when you've got the same moon phases and things like that. So it was a lot of self-teaching and learning. It took us a lot of years to
and culminated in a pretty big win.
Yeah, we were pretty happy. Unfortunately, we lost our car the year before that. So
I know, that was a shocker, but it was kind of fate made up for it, didn't it?
It did, it was just meant to be, and we'd had a few close seconds the years before, and it was just our year, and I think fate definitely had its play in that. So
that's great. Now, I wanted to ask you about your message to other women, particularly women who might have partners who are keen on fishing, and they may go occasionally, and they're starting to see the attraction to it or whatever. And also, teenage girls, some of them are really interested in fishing. What are your tips? What should girls do to get involved in fishing? And of course, you've hooked up with Joe and been involved in the Barra'Prentice scheme, taking a newbie each year up to the Northern Territory to fish in the Secret Women's Business Barra tournament. That's been a great experience.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Nothing makes me more prouder to watch a woman start off with low self-confidence, low self-esteem, to be able to be confident in picking out what rod and reel they're going to use, how to put all that together with knots and things, what lures to select, and then to go and fish. And in a tournament situation, it's not always easy. It's brain fatigue, thinking about how you're going to catch that next fish. There's no muscle or brawn involved. It's, you know, it's thinking smart and thinking how what you're going to do.
Tough for southerners too. You know, the locals up there are fishing those waterways all the time. I don't think there's a pre-fish ban for SWBs there, so they can fish right up to the start of it. Whereas you guys fly in, you might have 2 days on the water, and then you're into it. But you've done really well. I mean, you know, the Barra'Prentice team's won it 1 year and finished in the top half of the field just about every year they've been in it. So you're hoping this year's going to be a big one?
I'm hoping, but it doesn't bother me. It's more about seeing that apprentice achieve what they want to achieve. You know, the apprentice this year was saying how people laugh at her when she casts, and to be honest, we've had her out there hitting the bucket 3 times and there's nothing wrong with her casting. So it's that self-confidence that I grow on, and I love to see Nads in particular. Like, they've all been fantastic, but just to watch someone grow,
really develop.
It's been absolutely
And I think
great.
that's the same for males or females. You know, if you've got confidence in what you're doing, you're going to do a lot better job at it, aren't you?
Yeah, totally.
I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers.